Hey everyone, this is Jose Espeda and this is my video editing statement for assignment 1. So originally I wanted to take pictures of architecture and other university property that was beginning to show its age. But as it turned out, that was extremely difficult. Specifically, I was looking for buildings or pretty much anything that was stuck in a certain time period, whether it be like the 70s or the 80s or the 90s or any decade really. But I ended up having to adjust my plan because, as it turns out, it was really difficult to find anything on campus that had this problem. So I ended up doing the reverse and instead looked at modern things that didn't exist on campus during any of those decades. So looking through my wide angle and my telephoto pictures, I chose Newman Church because, well, it's a big building, and I noticed that it contained a lot of tiny details that I could have used for the telephoto shot. So the one with a lot of detail. And so for that telephoto shot, I decided to stick with the top of the building, which had the cross, which ironically showed its age because it was starting to become a little lime green. That happens to like metal surfaces. So for my action shots, I chose the Eikenberry Quad. And I chose the Eikenberry Quad because in its current form, it is pretty much a modern design that the campus didn't have recently. Because Nugent, Wasatch, and Boostfield residential areas didn't exist, not even at the start of the decade. So that's something new that the university hasn't seen in past decades. Also, in those pictures, you could see a modern mountain bike, which actually has springs and has 21 speeds compared to most mountain bikes back then that had only about 10 speeds. So there was that as well. And we also see ARC, and ARC in its current form is a relatively new building because it was redesigned back in 2008. So looking at the color and monochrome pictures, I took a picture of a couple of pair of shoes I had for my monochrome picture because all of them so happened to be black, white, or gray, or a mixture of everything in between those three colors. So those shoes in particular, I got lucky with them in a sense because they are modern shoes. They're all stuff that people back then definitely wouldn't have put on. So that's why I stuck with those. And for the color photo, I chose these pool balls. And this was an interesting one because the way I look at it, a lot of old school table games, so like pool or table tennis or foosball, stuff like that, I feel like people don't play them as much as they used to because of the popularity of video games has risen. So, in a way, that's looking at something that used to be really popular back then in 2019 and how that's thriving. For my angle pictures, I chose Nugent, which is one of the brand new buildings on campus. And in the pictures, you could see the bike racks, which U-shaped bike racks are actually a relatively new thing. Back then, there was an older design that people noticed was flawed and people could easily steal bikes from. So U-shaped locking areas are actually a relatively modern thing. And for my hard light picture, I chose there was an extremely old lamp near the Eikenberry dining hall, and that lamp was clearly from the 30s. So of my original idea, that was the only picture I was able to find to make work for my original idea. For my soft light picture, I chose a VeloRide bike. So everyone likes to make fun of the VeloRides, whether it be the pranks or anything else that people use the VeloRides for. But this is something new that people not even 2 years ago could have experienced. So that's why I chose the VeloRide bike, since it's something that's now part of the university's lifestyle. For my close-up pictures, I chose pictures of my girlfriend. To be honest, there isn't really anything to say about that. They're just pictures of my girlfriend. Um, for my time of day pictures, I focused on uh, Nugent's entrance along with the Eikenberry Dining Hall on the side. So the Eikenberry Dining Hall, which is probably one of the most popular buildings on campus for obvious reasons. And so I decided to take a picture of that because it was recently redesigned, and the interior actually has a lot of modern cookware compared to the other dining halls. And so the current Eikenberry Dining Hall experience is something people couldn't experience back then. So finally, for my selfie, you'll notice that I'm wearing sweats. So I mean, although you can't see the pants, I am wearing sweatpants, and the long sleeve T-shirt I have is an athletic T-shirt, and those are significant because a lot of college students today, they don't really, they don't try to dress as well as people in the past might have. A lot of people just like to stay in pajamas or like to just put on sport clothes because they're comfortable and they just go to class like that. So compared to the past, that has changed significantly. And so yeah, this has been my video editing statement for assignment 1. Thanks for watching.